fam? It's your boy Aces Galvin coming at you guys with the next episode. I was going to do this outside. I actually did start recording outside, but I can't do it outside just the simple fact that it's too windy. So I'm in the car now, but we're going to get this popping. Episode 20, what is this? 22? Something like that. I don't know. But where we left off last time was talking about, I just found out how much rent's going to be, how much our insurance is going to be. I just got this job at the Gap, and I really haven't been able to. I've have some animosity towards my relationship. So all these things are something that's going on now. So we're going to get into what's going on next. So essentially, you guys already realized that we have a couple different issues going on in life right now. I'm not really chilling with my friends much. Just kind of watching anime most of the time. I'm kind of dissatisfied with my relationship just for the simple fact that things aren't going the way I want them to go. And I have this issue where I'm living with my dad, and it's rough. It's rough because, like I said, I sleep on the floor. There's really never no groceries in the house. I could have got my own groceries, I just never did. My car, actually, I forgot to tell you guys, my car is acting up at this point. It decides to work when it wants to. But everything is just kind of like, And what ends up happening next is just pretty much, I was chilling. I chilled a lot with Justin. We were just chilling a lot, and what J.O. And essentially what I ended up coming up with was that I was mad discontent overall. At this particular point in my life, I was discontent because of all the nonsense and BS that I went through. In reality, like most people, all I wanted was a regular, normal relationship. I didn't want gimmicks. I didn't want to hide. I just wanted, everybody, I see so many people running around with, like, normal relationships, like, the kind of relationships where the dude can go over to the girl's house and say hi to the parents and simple things like that. Never had that, And it was really, really annoying. So let's get to the next important thing that we did. I was over at Janelle's house, and I was chilling with Janelle a lot at this time. And I was chilling with Janelle, and I went on my AIM, and I seen Alexi's AIM. I seen her, like, her name on, right? And I'm like, oh. I hit her up, and I was like, yo, what's going on? It's Ace. She didn't respond. I was like, oh. I let it go. I hit a few other people up on AIM. I was just hitting people up on AIM. It was AIM back then. Y'all know what that is. And I let it go. A couple days later, I go back over to Janelle's house. I check again. Come to find out, she hit me back like, who's this? I'm like, oh, she forgot who I was. So that had me like, I was like, damn, Lexi. I'm like, yo, you don't remember me? I'm like, baseball stadium, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh, I think I do. I was like, yo, here's my number. Give me a call when you get a chance. Later that day, she gave me a call, and she sounded different from what I remembered, and we wasn't really talking about nothing. You ever get those conversations where you get in a conversation with somebody, and there's just really nothing to talk about, but you both of you guys are trying to hold on to a conversation? That's kind of what happened. We were talking about nothing, and she was acting really, like, retarded. Like, I guess she was laughing at somebody in the background, and I just ended up hanging up, and that was it. And I sent her a message the next day, like, yo, I'll hit you up in time. And pretty much what I was doing, the reason I was reaching out to so many people, like I told y'all before, was because I was very discontent. I was wondering, like, all the what ifs. Like, what if I wasn't with her and I got with this girl? What if I just never was with Mia? I had a lot of doubt, as I told you guys before. And that just played into my life. So as I skip ahead and go through all these things, a couple of things started happening. Let's get into the destruction of this relationship. So, I'm still seeing Mia here and there. I brought Mia to my dad's house once to chill because it was mad nasty outside and we didn't have nowhere to go. I brought her over to my dad's house. I knocked on the door. I didn't knock on the door. I opened the door. He's asleep. I asked him, like, yo, is it alright if I bring my girlfriend over just to chill for like 10, 20 minutes? Literally, that's all I was going to do, chill for 10, 20 minutes. Wasn't going to smash or nothing. I was just like, I just want to chill with her for 10, 20 minutes. It's mad gross outside. This nigga's like, no, she can't come in. Like, I'm like, what, nigga? Like, I'm just looking at him like, are you kidding me, son? Are you dead ass? I'm like, really? It's like that? I paid $400 in rent, and I can't even have somebody come over, and I don't even have a room? Are you fucking kidding me? That's what I was thinking. I was pissed. That shit got me mad, son. I'm like, we sat... Not only was it extremely embarrassing, because she was kind of excited to see my dad. He fucking blew the whole shit off. It pissed me off. So he never met her. That was his only chance to meet her. She wanted to meet him. Didn't get to do that. I'm feeling stupid because she knows I pay rent. So now I'm looking like a wing, like, oh yeah, you pay rent and you can't even have me come inside. I'm just sitting there in the hallway, angry, son. It makes me, when I think about it now, it makes me sick to my stomach. I was really pissed off about that. I felt so pissed off, and it just kind of added on to the relationship me and my dad were having. Let's get into that a little bit. The only thing we really did together was play Madden, and it was subtlety. Like, I didn't play with him that much, but we would play. I'd be chilling. Like, this is how the days went. I would listen to music, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. He would be at work. I would go on the computer, watch anime, listen to music. I was watching a lot of Naruto. I watched Naruto from like episode 1 all the way through, because they were still, when I started watching it, they were doing fillers, so there's like 220 episodes in the first season. I was watching all those. So I would watch anime in the daytime, and then he'd come home, and when he came home, I'd get off the computer, and at that time I'd either go outside, I'd walk around, or I'd drive around, or I'd go to a friend's house or something like that. That was kind of how it was. Sometimes when he'd get home, he'd ask me if he want to play Madden. Now, as y'all remember, I used to win tournaments in Virginia in Madden, so I was a monster. Only thing we really did was play Madden. It'd be fun because he never would win. We played Madden for about 9 months straight, almost every other day, and he won 3 times out of almost 300 games. He won 3 times by 3 points each time, and every single time that he won by 3 points, I blew his ass out the next game, like by 40 or something. It was crazy. Mad fun for me because I wasn't losing, but it was fun to him because we got to have father-son time. But essentially, other than that, we wasn't really doing anything, and I was still mad about the fact that something didn't seem right about the whole $200 of car insurance, which was fishy to me. Long story short, let's skip ahead. I start working at the Gap. Now I'm working an overnight shift. I'm pretty much working by walking around picking clothes, putting them in boxes, and sending boxes down the line. Eventually I move up to a guy that's working on the forklifts. When I start working on forklifts, I start dealing with a lot of stress, because during the entire time I'm working, I'm also mad frustrated with my relationship. So I'm like, Mia's like catching me doing things I shouldn't be doing. Like, she found out about the pictures that Trish was sending me. She was really upset about that. A couple weeks later, I was on MySpace and I was talking to my boy Jo, and I was talking to him about trying to get with this other girl, but I was just like, yo, I can't do that to her. Or I was trying to get with somebody else, but I wasn't trying. I was just talking about it with Justin, with Jo. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking about trying to get with somebody else, but I don't know, man. I'm just having a lot of issues with this relationship. It's not really worth it. He's like, yo, are you sure? Me and Jo got along really well when it came to talking about situations like this. So I'm like, yo, I want to do something new. I don't know, man. Like, I can't do this shit. Like, it's killing me. And he's like, yeah, we're talking about it. She found out about that because she asked for my MySpace for some reason, and I just gave it to her. I was like, whatever. And, those were like 2 strikes. So, she kept noticing that I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. I wasn't actually blatantly cheating on her or anything like that, but I was in the works of doing it. So you guys, you can say it was being deceitful, because I was like very uncertain about my relationship. And every single time we ran into those problems, I say the same thing, like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, you have no idea what this is like for me. It's fucking crazy. She's like, oh, well, I do everything I can. In her mind, she was doing everything possible that she could do. In my mind, she wasn't doing what she said she would do. And it created huge issues, yo. So this kept going on. I didn't want to leave her because I was selfish. I wanted to keep her to myself. I didn't want no other man having her. So it created an issue, because I'm like, oh, I don't want nobody else to have her. That's my girl. That's my wifey. I want her for the future. Like, she's going to be my wife. And then at the same time, I'm also sitting there like, oh, this is killing me. I'm getting screwed over. I can't live. So I'm parted. Half of me wants her to be my wife and wants me to be with her forever. The other half of me is like, what if you're wrong? Just what if? What if you're wrong? What if you go ahead and you try to get with her and you try to stay with her and it doesn't work? And, this card has so many different issues. So let's skip ahead to kind of like the last straw. So up until this point, we're going to skip ahead a few months. I've been working at the Gap for a while. My car is it works, but it's I've seen her a few times in there, but we are running into a lot of problems. We're just having issues. What happens next is, I was talking to Janelle about this whole situation, and she understood what was going on. What I ended up doing was, there's a couple girls that come into play here. Ashley, which is Toogie's girl, she comes into play, and this other girl named Heather, who was Bunch's ex-girlfriend at the time or something like that. Now, me and Heather, we got along. I've always liked Heather. Heather was a mad cute girl, and I've always liked her. What ended up happening was, I ended up thinking to myself, like, yo, I think I want to get with Heather. I think I want to try to get with Heather. She's free. Her parents are cool with everything that Heather had, Mia didn't have. But they were still kind of on par. So I was just like, yo, maybe it would be a better idea for me to try to get Heather. I wouldn't have to hide anything. I'd be able to be around and chill. I'd be able to be happy. At this point, my happiness is my concern. I'm like, I need to be happy no matter what. I need to freaking figure out what I'm going to do. But instead of leaving her, which I didn't do, I stayed with her and tried to play both sides. I was like, yeah, let me stay with her, but at the same time, let me try to do what I want to do. You know, it was one of those situations. So what ended up happening was, I'm talking to Justin about this once again, and I'm like, yo, I want to get with Heather. I'm gonna try to get with Heather. I'm not sure though. Blah 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 blah. Somehow Mia goes on my MySpace, finds out about that. I didn't know. She goes and calls Janelle. She's talking to Janelle about this for like an hour or so, and I'm chilling. Like, to me, I'm in a point where I'm just like, F this relationship, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh, I love her. I loved her. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I love that girl to death. And I wanted that to work. I honestly, truly did. But I was more selfish than selfless. I cared about myself more than I cared about her. And we had an agreement where it should have been mutual. But I also feel like she didn't care about me enough because she didn't want to make the sacrifices. So we were running into a serious issue here. If I can go back, what I would have changed was I would have left her. Because that would have made it serious. Like, yo, I'm dead ass serious. I'm not going to be with you unless it's got to be the way it was. But I didn't do that. So what ended up happening is, we run into a lot of issues. Like, I skipped over a couple months with you guys in this episode. So right now, we're at a point where me and Mia are shaky. What ends up happening is I'm chilling. I get out of work. I come cruising down the street. I get a phone call. It's Janelle. She's like, yo, D, yo. I'm like, what? She's like, yo, like, she knows, yo. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, yo, she knows. I'm like, can you tell me what she's talking about? She's like, yo, she knows what you were saying on your MySpace. She printed it out. And when you see her tomorrow, she's going to have it waiting for you. And she's going to bring it up. She's going to confront you with it. I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, she printed out your conversation. She has it. She's going to confront you with it tomorrow when you see her. I'm like, oh. Because I was planning on seeing her at her school tomorrow. And when I talked to her right after that, she's like, oh, yeah, hey, you know, it was kind of like off, but she was acting like sweet. She's like, hey, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. Make sure you come. I'm like, yo, oh, she's plotting. So what I do is I go and I look over the conversation. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, this is like the fourth strike at this point. I go to go see her at the school tomorrow, the next day. I pull up, and we're going to stop right there. Got him! Oh, yeah, niggas, I was going to talk about that. Nope, that's the next episode. Just make sure y'all stay tuned. It's your boy AG, and I will holler at y'all next episode. I know I'll be killing y'all with these cliffhangers, but that's going to require a lot because that is the beginning of the end. So stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to get into that, all right? It's your boy AG. I'm out. One.